LALATE. From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big morning of mornings LALATE as overnight the House Democrats passed your $3.5 trillion recon package in the House Budget Committee. OMG. In this recording, we go over the breaking news that's happening on Sunday morning. I told you it was going to be a big weekend. The reconciliation budget bill passed in the subcommittee that determines the budget of the House, and it would now go to the House floor for a quick vote. That could literally be a rubber stamp, but is it a rubber stamp? I'll go over the details happening today. Boy, this is a big one, folks. The recon bill has been written. It's 2,400 pages. I have the name for it. I have the details for you, and I'll go over what happened overnight. It's a big shocker. Then we'll be cutting to the IRS MS stimulus check that viewers have been advocating for, and no less than 1,000 different conversations and confirmed that it's in there. We'll go over what's happening with that. Then we'll be cutting into the big exciting details of cluster number 1, cluster number 2, and cluster number 3 checks. We'll be cutting over to third stimulus for just a brief moment, and then the debt ceiling limit, and then fifth stimulus. But boy, get ready for a big broadcast, because the key word this morning is passed. A $3.5 trillion reconciliation budget bill passed by the House Democrats in a late vote late last night. It's Sunday morning. I'm with you. I'm live. I'm here in Santa Monica. I'm wearing red. And boy, there is a lot of red from that ink last night as well. The toast is toast and the butter is butter. And I'm here, you're here. And this is Mornings LA. Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day across the board. Thank you for joining me on a breaking news report direct from Santa Monica live this Sunday morning. Late last night, the House Democrats approved a $3.5 trillion reconciliation budget bill. Yes, they passed it. The budget committee that would determine the funding of the bill passed it in completeness. The package is $3.5 trillion. The pages is 2,400 pages, and the name is called the Build Back Better American Plan. Now it would basically set up a quick vote on the House floor. Is the quick vote on the House floor today? Is the quick vote tomorrow? Or is it on Tuesday? Meantime, what about the infrastructure vote? Is the infrastructure vote impacting this as well? I'll have all the details of that is more. Then we'll be cutting into the big exciting details about what is happening in cluster number 1's checks, cluster number 2's checks, and cluster number 3. We'll be going over the big money that is happening under third stimulus, an additional $13 billion going out to your cities, counties, and states. And then we'll be cutting to the surprise about fifth stimulus. That money that is still drafting up, and then everything you need to know across the board. It's a big morning, and there's so much happening, and this is Mornings LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. There's a reason why you watch this channel. With 24 hours of programming live, taped throughout the weekend, this is the channel you want to be part of, because this won't be covered until tomorrow on broadcast media. But you're hearing it first right now. Let's go over how it happened. On Saturday night, late on Saturday night, from literally their cars, their restaurant tables, their kitchen countertops, House Democrats were calling in to vote on the House Budget Committee's approval of a $3.5 trillion reconciliation budget bill. House Democrats and House Republicans, of course, were all part of the vote, and it passed. Last night, the Budget Committee of the House passed the complete reconciliation budget bill. It is 2,400 pages. It is called the Build Back America Plan. And that budget bill is now effectively done in the Budget Committee. So, would it be called for a vote quickly in the House? Normally, in any other day and any other week, I would be telling you that this could literally go to the House floor tomorrow and be approved in about 5 seconds. But why is it not going to the House floor and being approved in 5 seconds? Because Nancy Pelosi late last night explained that she's still maneuvering, modifying some of the language for the purposes of the Senate Democrats. She said negotiations still with the Senate Democrats are still underway. So while the House Budget Committee approved it and could be a quick vote within just seconds on the House floor, the Senate Budget Committee is negotiations continue with the Senate, says the direct quote from Pelosi. The next few days will be a time of intensity. This is huge. This is really a big moment. It reportedly has everything that's been covered on this channel for cluster number 1, cluster number 2, and cluster number 3 getting over the finish line, with one provision that is so wonderful that I actually broke down in Taping Afternoon's LATE show, which you're going to see later today, because it is really quite wonderful. How they modified an existing program so more people get that money. Then the provision about the IRS MSC, we simply don't know just yet. In the last 2 weeks, no less than 1,000 different viewers have been told by Senate Democrats and House Democrats that there will be a provision in there that runs the following: $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000 for 6 months. Nancy Pelosi's office telling no less than a dozen viewers this channel going in the weekend that the negotiations had been finalized. Early in the week saying the negotiations were near complete, and that by the end of the week saying that the negotiations were done, and that AOC, Omar, and Pelosi were writing it up for inclusion in the bill. Well, we now know the bill is done. 2,400 pages, and the bill was approved last night. So the bill, let's be very clear, is not a bill yet, because it's not a bill until it's on the House floor, and then it gets an H. All my reporting has been confirmed today. Number one, I had told viewers over the last 4 months, that the House Democrats would be the lead negotiators and the lead authors, and that the House subcommittees would approve the legislation first. Remember I did the 6 steps? Set House subcommittee, House floor. This is the House subcommittee. The next step would be the House floor and would normally just be a rubber stamp, literally just a 20-second vote, because they just approve something or they give deference to something that the subcommittee of the Budget Committee did. But they're still maneuvering with the Senate. Moreover, that maneuvering still gives us the opportunity to make sure everything is correct. Democrats from Coons, Sanders, Warren, Casey, and other Senate Democrats, along with AOC, Omar, Pelosi, and Jalopal, told no less than 1,000 viewers of this channel over the last 2 weeks that there is an MSC stimulus check in there, and that it would run monthly. And that the viewership of this channel had more updates later in the week that it's $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. But what we do know at the moment, as we start a Sunday morning, is that cluster number 1, cluster number 2, and cluster number 3 are in there. Let's cut right to first cluster number 1. The first 645 pages of this 2,400-page Build Back America plan were released 2 weeks ago, and these checks reportedly got over the finish line. Hazard pay, caring for the elderly, caring for children, college students, home repairs, and also bikes, vehicles, and trucks, and 51,000 of MSC with a change. You're going to see for the first time breaking news right now. Well, hazard pay got in there. Hazard pay was a big provision that was advocated for this channel in less than 500 videos in 2020, and now it's a lifetime fixture of the American public in this recon, so says reports. It would be the following: the modification of an old tax code called the Earned Income Tax Credit, EIC, so that more essential workers qualify for it, and also increasing the amount of money. Every year that you work as an essential worker, you would qualify for this money. Then Richard Neal got in that provision that if you care for an elderly, up to $4,000 a year, it's huge, especially if you're a home health care provider. Eligibility provisions still, we're looking at those still even going into tomorrow. Then on the other side, up to $4,000 of care for a young child. College students, grants for you. Pell's grant mean tax-free, grants directly to the university and then grants to you. Then repairing the home in a low-income community. Yes, there's money in there as well. It's deliciousness. It's not the only item for homes. I have one in cluster number 2 coming up in a second. Then $51,000 of monthly stimulus checks. The CTC, the child tax credit, becoming permanent. What are they going to do? If you have a child and you're giving birth to a child in a low-income household, up to $300 a month for every month that the household is that way. So, for example, let's say you gave birth to a young child in a low-income household, you would get $300 a month every month for every year, up to 18 years that that household is low income. $51,000 per child. On Afternoon's LH show later today, you're going to see me get a little emotional because I had to deliver the breaking news, which is really wonderful news, not for a lot of viewers, but wonderful news for some people. If you raise a child because, let's say, the mom and the dad have died, the grandparents have all died, and you are the guardian of that child, or the person who has legal authority to raise the child, but you're not a blood relative, you were getting Zippo before. They made a wonderful change to the provision overnight so that your family now gets that money as well. All right, then we got money for also cars, trucks, vehicles, and it's deliciousness. Up to 15% for the purchase of a new electric bike, then up to $7,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle for personal use, a little bit more if the vehicle's for business use, and then a little bit more for an electric truck for business use. All U.S. auto manufacturers. Well, that's the first cluster. There's a second cluster and a third cluster coming up in just a second. But let's cut over to third stimulus. Third stimulus, a big surprise, an additional $13 billion are coming out to cities, counties, and states for rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance, red, blue, poor, and rich states. Treasury made this statement about 2 weeks ago. If you remember this channel, it's now included in the newsletter, which you get Monday through Friday about 7 p.m. from me. Treasury is happy to provide the state and local governments with these additional resources to support Americans in need of rental assistance. I'll go over that later in this video to show you how you get this big money. But let's cut to cluster number 2, which reportedly got in there as well. The first item is paid family leave and paid medical leave. Paid family leave, you have to stay at home because the wife is pregnant. Medical leave, you have to stay at home because the child broke their leg. It's important to remember that everything under fourth stimulus is not pandemic related. It's just life in general, because this is a lifetime of benefits over the lifetime of this country. So how much does it pay? A lot. Under third stimulus was supposed to pay up to $1,700. You make $70,000 a year, split in half, $800 a week. If you make $35,000 a year, $400 a week if you make $15,000 a year. Then we have other checks in there, which are absolute deliciousness. We have checks in there for childcare tax programs, household tax credits. Then we have checks for seniors like dental, vision, hearing, and Medicare. More about that in the third cluster. And then we have checks for weatherizing your home. Yeah, more checks for the home. Weatherizing your home. That's specifically needed if you have Purple Hawks on the roof and you're Fox News. Weatherizing your home is if the home is in a flood zone or a fire area or tornado alley. Then we have more checks for education, pre-kindergarten, totally free, and then checks for free community college across the country. This is huge. One of the very popular foreign language classes now sweeping the nation is called What the Hell Does LATE Say? They just talk really strange out there in LA. They just have their own dialect. I don't understand it. So you can take that dialect class to learn what foreign language I'm talking. Pardon my French. And then we got more checks for green energy. We'll be cutting to cluster number 3 in a second, but let's go over what's going on. Well, what's going on is precisely what I had been reporting exclusively for 3 months was going to happen. That the Democrats on the House and Senate side are negotiating things. And that once they negotiate something and they like it, they say, go write it up. And once they wrote it up, it became 2,400 pages. And those 2,400 pages, I had told viewers 3 months ago, would be written by the House Democrats, the subcommittee. And I specifically remember the 6 steps we used to do on this channel: House subcommittee, House floor, Senate subcommittee. Remember those 6 steps? Well, I told you that the House subcommittee would call the critical vote first. Then that critical vote would be basically all the work, the meat and potatoes, because once it called for on the House floor, it's a done deal. That's what happened last night. From literally their cars, literally their restaurants, or their kitchen table, the House Budget Committee, Democrats and Republicans were calling it a vote. And it got passed. House Republicans vote against it, of course, and House Democrats vote in favor of it. That means that all they have to do is basically send this to the House floor for a rubber stamp. But it won't be rubber stamped. I'll explain to you why in the third part of this video. It's very important. Stay to the final 15 minutes of this video. And that is where we are with a $2,400 page bill called Build Back America, your fourth stimulus recon. Let's cut to third cluster of checks. These are the president's checks, and they got all in there. And there is a $107 billion world exclusive on this one as well. There's free school meals for all checks, tax-based checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, checks for free internet, checks for farmers, checks for clean energy, checks for workers alike independent contractors, checks for dental, vision, hearing, and lowering eligibility age, and checks for seniors. The $107 billion world exclusive is that the Senate parliamentarian a week ago said that one provision in there can't go in there. It's for the judiciary. I went back in my old notes, I cross-referenced and realized that provision is $107 billion, which means they had to reallocate that money to you. Two of the checks in there are nearly automatic. I love them. That's why the president pushed for them as well. The first one, prescription medication. Let's say you go to fill a prescription today, you take two $20 bills out of your wallet. This becomes law, then when you go back to refill it, you only have to potentially pull out one $20 bill, an immediate savings on the wallet. Then on the other side, there is free internet coming. They're going to give fortunes to cities, counties, and states so they can launch their own free internet company. So you reach out to your local city and they say, what's the username and password? The password, sir, is Scarf101. And the username is Blaine666. There you go. In the second half of this video, we got so much coming up. Boy, we are going over what is happening on Monday. Will they be voting on this on Monday? And if not, why not? And if it goes for a vote on Monday, will it go before infrastructure on Monday or after infrastructure? I'm going to give you the latest news. I'm also going to give you my impression of the situation, because so far, my impressions have been sort of a mixture of fact and quotes from these legislators, so I can guide you what I think is going to happen as well. We'll be cutting back over to the debt ceiling limit, which is now part of the equation, not because of the recon, but because of the work process. We'll be cutting over to third stimulus, which has more money as well. And then, of course, we'll be cutting back to those IRS MSC checks. There's a lot coming up. It's breaking news, and it's a Saturday. We're going to have shows throughout the day. If you see me wearing a red shirt in a show today, that means the show was taped today, which is very important because this is a day with a lot of breaking news. Stay with me. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as the breaking news about the passage of your recon in the Budget Committee of the House overnight is covered more as we return on Mornings LALATE. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now, live from Santa Monica on a big breaking news Sunday as the House Subcommittee, the Budget Subcommittee, approves your $3.5 trillion recon package overnight. The bill has been written. It's 2,400 pages. It's called the Build Back America Plan. The package was approved last night, meaning that the House floor could approve it in just a blink of an eye. But what does this mean for you? I'll go over the latest details for Purple Hawks across the board. We'll go over what the president has planned and what I think is going to happen as well with the infrastructure going for a vote tomorrow. I'll explain the implications of the two items at the same time. I'll be cutting over to the debt ceiling limit, also over to fifth stimulus, and then we'll be cutting back to, of course, that IRS MSC, and then a little bit more about third stimulus. It's a big morning, and this is Mornings LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Stay with me all day long with shows at noontime, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 5 o'clock. If I'm wearing a red shirt today, it was a show tape today because this is a breaking news developing across the board. And then we have all shows tonight as well. Let's go right into quickly the surprise of third stimulus. $13 billion is coming out to cities, counties, and states for third stimulus that no one saw coming. And this is a big cash infusion. I'm going to go over all this big money for you for rent, utilities, food, and internet quickly right now. The rent has gone up double. The utilities, people are now getting 3 times the amount. And when we talk about SNAP, people are getting 400% more money than ever before. It was no less than a month ago that the Purple Hawks of this channel, I hope you're one as well, were getting $20,000 for rent. But then by the end of last week, Jen got $40,000 for rent. When we talk about utilities, the numbers have actually gone through the roof. Mark's brother-in-law, you remember Mark, he's $51,000 Mark. His brother-in-law got $15,000 for utilities, a 300% increase. Then when we talk about SNAP, it has gone up 400%, with Mark's brother-in-law getting $21,000. Let me go over all this big money, starting right now. Get a pen, paper, and cell phone ready. I want you to get this big money because this money is available right today. We're going to go over rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. I'm going to show you 6 places to reach out to all 6. They have different eligibility, they have different pots of money. Then listen to the keywords I see in this video, and then get ready for the nonprofits because they're paying in 24-hour turnaround times. Here are the 6 places: City Hall, City House Authority; County Hall, County House Authority; State Hall, and State House Authority. The keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, rent or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. Now let's go over the 6 places again: City Hall, City House Authority; County Hall, County House Authority; State Hall, and State House Authority. If you are a member, then I want you to read in the newsletter, which comes out to you daily, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the link to the Treasury announcement. Because if you got to money for this channel before, or you reached out before to somewhere and they said they're out of money, I want you to know what that Treasury article says before you make the phone call. Then when you make the phone call, ask if they have the money. If they don't have it yet, then say, I want to be on the waiting list, or can I call you tomorrow? Remember, every city, county, state, red, blue, rich, or poor will have this money, but it won't be there forever. Then the utility companies, if you have 5, reach out to all 5. Don't reach out to 1. Remember, utility assistance because of COVID is the key word you want to say. And then finally, the nonprofits. Big success. One viewer got money in 24 hours from St. Vincent de Paul and wants you to know how quickly they're paying for rent. Another viewer has the same success story this last week for United Way. Wants you to know about that as well. And another viewer for another nonprofit got a brand new furnace and a brand new refrigerator and got a window repaired as well. What are the 5 nonprofits? United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul. I hope that you are a member. The membership link is under the video. Membership newsletters daily include the nonprofits. What's important to understand is that nonprofits do things differently. They're not the federal government. The eligibility is totally different, and they also pay for things the federal government doesn't pay for, like sometimes shelter for homeless people, clothing, sometimes small appliances. Here are the 5 nonprofits again: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul. Also, if you need holiday gifts, reach out to Salvation Army now. They do that in October. Let's turn to SNAP. SNAP is money for food. You get it from Department of Agriculture. It's going up a lot. Mark's brother-in-law is getting $21,000, but it's heading to $26,000. Department of Agriculture is raising everyone's benefits up average of 25% lifetime automatically starting in October. Now, here's something that's very important to understand. A lot of people are getting confused because they're getting one of 2 letters. There's 2 letters you're getting. The first letter you're getting says that the prior rise of your benefits up, the prior lift up of your benefits from January, September is ending and that you're going back down. Well, guess what? There's another letter that comes right behind that that says your benefits are going up an average of 25% starting October, so don't fret. Then unemployment benefits, the refund check from your state due to overpayment of unemployment benefits and computer error, that's coming. Average payment is $2,000 to $5,000. Reach out to your state for tracking. And then the IRS check, yes, where you pay taxes on the 2020 unemployment benefits, that's coming. Average payment is $1,200 to $2,000. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. If you got in any sums of money, post them in the live chat right now, because when you do, you inspire other people to make the phone call. If you haven't become a Purple Hawk, consider becoming one as well. Daily, Monday through Friday, I deliver the newsletter, formerly the PDFs, to viewers of this channel to show you the big money available under first, second, and third stimulus. Viewers are getting $40,000, $80,000, $100,000 routinely from this channel because there's a lot of money under third stimulus, a fortune. And what I want you to do is I want you to make a promise to yourself. I want you to get money as far into the future as possible. If you have already got to money from this channel, I want you to get more money. If you haven't got to money, I want you to get money. And if you think that the place you got money from before won't give any more, you can go to another place, so long as you're eligible. I want you to get rent and utilities as far into 2022 as possible. And the great news is the nonprofits, it's not the winter yet. People aren't leaning on the nonprofits that much yet. They are very responsive right now. So make the phone calls right now. And with that, we go into the final 15 minutes of a very big extended breaking news report about the passage of the $3.5 trillion reconciliation budget bill and the House Budget Subcommittee last night. Let's go over everything you need to know about the situation. Number one, last night, in the middle of a Saturday night, the House Budget Subcommittee passed the $3.5 trillion reconciliation budget bill. Under any other day of any other week of any other year, I would simply say, well, all they have to do is send it to the House floor and it's going to get passed in 10 seconds. It's going to get rubber stamped. It would. But why not here? Because Nancy Pelosi last night admitted that she still is in talks with the Senate Democrats to make sure that everything is fine with them, and that if something needs to get slightly modified here and there or here or there, then they'll modify it on the House floor. Jalopal said much the same on Friday, that she wants to make sure that everything is fine for the Senate Democrats as well. It's important to understand that we don't have a finish line yet passed over. We have not gone over the finish line. So you need to advocate through the finish line. And they can still modify stuff even with a passage because that's what they do. It was 8 weeks ago where this channel said to advocate for a stimulus check and pick up the phone and call. And in those 8 weeks, we have no less than 1,000 different phone calls for different viewers getting confirmation from over a dozen different House Democrats and Senate Democrats confirming to them they're inserting an MSC provision in there, and or it was inserted in there, and or it was already written up. It started 8 weeks ago where I said pick up the phone, and WR picked up the phone and called. Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, advocated for a stimulus check, and Senator Chris Coons said yes, he's put it in there. And we saw advocacy really take a great form in the last 2 days of last week as two viewers, Margaret and another viewer, picked up the phone and really tore their emotions out and put them on the phone. Margaret told the caller for the Senate office of what she's gone through, and the Senate office broke down in tears with Margaret. Then another viewer saying, I've lost everything during this pandemic. I had 10 surgeries. I lost my husband. I'm raising 2 adult teenagers on SSI and SSDI. It's not enough. But 3 weeks ago, everything sort of changed very quickly. Why? At the time, I was delivering a lot of world exclusives. Number one, I was telling you that the House Democrats would be writing it up. Of course, we now know that's true. That the House subcommittee would vote on it first, and we now know that's true. And also that Bernie Sanders is pivotal in this equation. We now know that it was also true. Bernie Sanders is chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, and there's a Senate Budget Committee and the House Budget Committee. As a Senate Budget chairman, he got the $3.5 trillion price tag for us. But 3 weeks ago, he gave a pivotal quote to press. He said that unlike prior Senate budget chairmen, I like to get out amongst the people and hear what they, and speak with them when I'm writing a recon bill. I said that means he wants you to advocate to him. I said, pick up the phone and advocate to Bernie Sanders. And at the time, Brother Joshua did, Lynn Glenn, and Margaret did. Brother Joshua picked up the phone and advocated just like Margaret, just like the other person you saw a second ago, those two women who broke down in tears. Brother Joshua advocated for himself, for his family, his church, and you. He's a 2020 volunteer to the community page who's helped thousands of viewers get big money from this channel. And Sanders' office confirming to Brother Joshua, yes, he's inserting a monthly stimulus check in there, $1,400 to $1,000, 3 to 6 months, said the staffer. But Sanders' office said to Brother Joshua, he needs to hear that you support him. And you need to advocate and hear that as well. And with that, the floodgates opened. Donnie picked up the phone and called Bernie Sanders' office. That was 3 weeks ago and said, listen, I need a stimulus check. He advocated, Donnie to Bernie Sanders' office saying, I need it. My city needs it. This is why I need to progress. I need it to improve everything. And Sanders' office telling Donnie, there's an MSC in there. Hurricane Tina, who's in the live chat right now, calling up Sanders' office, advocating for a stimulus check. And Sanders' office confirming it's in there, MSC. And the calls continued. Carolyn calling up Sanders' office, advocating for it, and Sanders' office confirming that the MSC is in there. Yaya calling up Ron Wyden's office, advocating for an MSC, and Wyden's office confirming it's in there. The advocacy continued day in, day out, with thousands of viewers calling senators across the board. By the next 3 weeks, we had Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, Wyden, all in different conversations, telling different viewers this channel, it's in there. Monthly stimulus checks. Will took us to another level when he made 3 phone calls in one day 2 weeks ago, when Sanders, Schumer, and also Elizabeth Warren's offices separately confirmed that there is an MSC check in there. Warren's office saying that she's doing $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months. This is consistent with what other viewers heard by the end of last week. Nancy Pelosi's office telling viewers that Warren, Pelosi, and others were advocating for 12 months of checks, couldn't get it. Were arguing for $1,400 to $2,000 a month, couldn't get it. But they got $1,000 a month after the first month of 2000. Lorica was the bombshell. When 2 weeks ago, Bob Casey's office told Lorica that they're negotiating the stimulus check and provision insertion right now. But by the end of not last Friday, but the Friday before that, I had told viewers to start focusing on the House. We had all the senators saying they're inserting an MSC provision in there, IRS. I said, focus on the House. AOC, Jalapal, Omar, Pelosi, call them up. We got lucky. How do we get lucky? Because I did not know at that time that Speaker Pelosi was the number one negotiator for that MSC inclusion. That AOC, Omar, and Jalapal were reportedly the individuals writing up the language, and that Pelosi went to go big and bold. That's what started to come into viewers' channel. Paul picked up the phone and called Omar's office 2 Fridays ago, and Omar's office telling Paul that, yes, there's a monthly stimulus check in there, $1,000 a month after the first month, $2,000, but 6 to 12 months. Then Janice getting confirmation as well from Jalapal's office of an MSC, and then Janice getting confirmation from Omar 2 days later. Then, by last Monday, Mark getting confirmation from Pelosi's office that the negotiations are near complete last Monday. $1,000 a month after the first month of 2000, 6 to 12 months. But by the end of the week, the world exclusive and the details were kept on coming on in. As Paul calling Omar's office getting confirmation that it's in there, $1,000 a month after the first month of 2000. Dragon getting the same confirmation as well. Ida getting confirmation from Omar's office as well. Dragon getting confirmation from Pelosi. And that is how we went to the weekend. Going into the weekend, over 1,000 offices, 1,000 phone calls by viewers' channel to all the major Senate Democrats and all the major House Democrats had yielded that they're putting in an MSC. That Pelosi's office had confirmed to about a half dozen viewers' channel that the negotiations were finished. That's $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. And that the drafters inserting the language were AOC, Jalapal, Omar, and Pelosi. But the surprise came when Saturday night, the vote happened. The vote happened on the full 2,400-page what will be bill called the America Build Back Plan. Now, what's important to understand is your advocacy does not stop here. It does not stop yesterday, does not stop today, because we're not over the finish line. When the bill's debuted, maybe it's not done right. Maybe it needs to be fixed. Maybe it needs to be modified. Maybe it's perfect. And then we have the Senate. It needs to be leaned upon. You need to advocate down to the finish line until the president signs anything. Because while these people represent, they're doing things for us, you always have to be careful of the situation. You'll see on Afternoons LA today that I was very emotional about the CTC modification because this is a great provision that helps a lot of people. A lot of people who are basically the parent of the child are not blood relatives because the parents died. The relatives died. There was no one to raise the child. But that person got nothing under third stimulus. They fixed it. They fixed it in the middle of the night on a Saturday night. All right, now let's go over what's going on with the voting. Let's go over the voting. Let's go over fifth stimulus, and let's go over the debt ceiling limit. First, the voting. They could literally vote on this bill Monday morning and pass it in a blink of an eye. But they're not, because Pelosi specifically said last night, I'm still holding it back to make tinkerings with what Senate negotiations are yielding across the board. That's fine. On Monday, the infrastructure vote will happen. Now, here's my impression of the situation. The infrastructure vote will happen on Monday, per Pelosi's agreement to that problem creator guy. Pelosi did not make an agreement as to what time the vote is. Yeah, what time the vote is. So there's a few things that are possibly going to happen, in my opinion. Number one, Pelosi will call the vote on the recon minutes before the infrastructure, when some infrastructure people think they're going first. Yeah, maybe they are going first, but she can call the vote on the bipartisan, on the recon right before the infrastructure. Number two, if she doesn't, and she just calls the infrastructure for a vote on Monday, as of Friday, Jalapal told News that infrastructure will not pass because there's not enough House Democrats to support it going for a vote first. So what do I think in that situation? If you do see the infrastructure going for bipartisan going for a vote first, I think what the House Democrats are going to do is they're going to vote it down so that they sort of send a very clear message. Then they call the vote on your recon either that day or the next day, maybe Tuesday, and they pass the recon, and then they recall the vote on the bipartisan and then approve it. I think that's absolutely in the equation. That, you know, Pelosi made an agreement to call the vote. She didn't make an agreement to pass it. It's sort of a little bit different. Yeah, sort of a little bit different. There's another thing that's looming out there. And I know over the last 2 days, I told you that the work schedule of the debt ceiling limit does not impair this whatsoever. But I really do believe that Pelosi is trying to get this recon done all in the same breath, because there's a spirit of compromise and a spirit of speed that always works beneficially. If you're with this channel in December 2020, when this channel got a stimulus check inserted in the CR provision, the continuing resolution, that CR literally passed in a blink of an eye. It just started one day. It zoomed up. I remember the Saturday and Sunday we were talking about Pat Toomey. I was on the beach recording from you on the beach. And then Sunday we're talking about Mitt Romney. Then we're voting on Monday. And then suddenly Tuesday was done. It was just so quick. When they're doing things quickly, they sometimes get in the speed in the moment. You remember this a lot, where Nancy Pelosi was doing stuff in fall 2020, and she had Steve Mnuchin on the phone, and she said, oh, by the way, Steve, can we do this debt ceiling limit? Oh, yeah, I'm on the phone. Let's just do that as well. They're sort of on the phone doing something else. So I think they're sort of using this momentum and this time element to sort of crunch everything at the same time. So I think she's using it to her benefit, and I think it's a brilliant idea. All right, let's go over to the debt ceiling limit. First, what is the debt ceiling limit? It's likely to lapse this week. It doesn't impact your checks. No. If you receive Social Security benefits, SSI, SSDI, you're a federal employee or an armed service person, your checks will arrive on the time. It's only if this debt ceiling limit does not get done for 2 more months. I don't think that's going to be happening. It is very common. They miss the deadline for a few days or a few weeks. They've done it on this channel in the last year. Number 2, fifth stimulus. Yes, raise your benefits up if you're on SSI and SSDI. This goes for a vote later this year. Not under fourth stimulus. It's if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits. Then they're going to remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, remove the marriage penalty, and then apply a new benchmark. The new benchmark is inflation. If inflation goes up, which it is, about 5% is what I'm predicting, you'll go up another 5%, not just lifetime, not just next year, but lifetime. And that's this stimulus. As we go into Monday, here is what you need to know. While we have a 2,400-page document called Build Back America, which will get an HR on it and be called a bill, the bill is not etched in stone. Pelosi made that clear in her quotes to press late last night. You need to advocate down to the wire. And the wire is when the president signs into law. They have to vote on the House floor. They have to vote on the Senate. The president has to sign it. That's at least 2 more steps. things can get modified. Modified this way, modified that way. When we see the bill, it is not the finality. If we see the bill and we don't like something, it is not the finality. If we see the House floor vote, that's not the finality. The finality is when the president signs it. So make yourself a promise to call AOC, Omar, Pelosi, Jalopal on Monday. Advocate for that stimulus check. And for the first time, which is slightly different than 24 hours ago, I want you to also advocate with those Senate Democrats, because you see Pelosi's comment that for purposes of where we are going into Sunday, the House Democrats are content with their position of the situation. They've memorialized it with 2,400 pages. They've called it for a vote. It is passed on the subcommittee. And that they're waiting for Senate Democrats' insight. Yeah. So Senate Democrats say, you know what, this needs a little modification there. That is where you need to push across the board. Finally, it's important for you to get these big sums of money under third stimulus. These big sums of money on the third stimulus pay as far as they can pay. Because with the winter months coming in the future, I want you to get this money now when the nonprofits aren't getting the swarm of phone calls. They aren't getting a swarm of phone calls now. They're very responsive. United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul. There's a lot more shows coming up on this channel today. I'll be back with you with noontime. I'll be back with you at 1 o'clock on Afternoons LALATE, 3 o'clock at Afternoons LALATE, which is a brand new show, and Evenings LALATE at 5 o'clock. And then we have a whole slate of programming tonight at 6 o'clock to midnight. Those shows are very important because when things become law, you need to know how to track a stimulus check, where it lands, Direct Express. You need to watch those videos so you understand the whole nuance of where and when your check lands. Meantime, please advocate. And if you see any show throughout the day and I'm wearing a red shirt with all the breaking news today, I want you to know that show was recorded today. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers is a YouTube record. I want you to be part of this incredible family. Keep on pushing. Keep on advocating, because we are not done and nothing is etched in stone yet. Like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay with me throughout the day as more details likely are going to come out about this 2,400 pages. I'll have them for you on air. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful day, and stay with LA for more.